It's Lauren here, and I wanted to pop on really quick before the episode to let you know that there is a correction in this episode. So, we have an amazing guest with you today, Latoya, and she does Mommy and Me readings, and she has offered readings to our besties for a discount with the code BESTIES23, and it expires November 30th. So if you want a reading between yourself and your child, this is your opportunity. Latoya is amazing, and you are going to love this episode. Enjoy!
Welcome to Your Spiritual Besties Podcast. I'm Lauren Ledoux.
And I'm Rashida McCoy. We're here to laugh, cry, learn, and connect with you.
We discuss anything and everything from our everyday lives to the magical, mystical, and woo-woo.
So take a deep breath, grab a cup of tea,
and set an intention to receive, because you deserve it, bestie. Hi, Rashida.
Hey, Lauren. How are you?
I'm so good. We have been talking with our guest already now for almost 40 minutes.
Just what we do. We're like, oh, we should probably record.
Yeah, y'all have missed some really great conversation already, but we have more coming. Usually we chat a bit, but I think we want to stay in our flow a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So today we have with us Latoya Newton. And Latoya is the visionary behind Latoya Does Readings and the creator of the Mommy and Me reading. She also creates and runs 2 family programs titled Mama's Magic and Magical Mamas, where she helps mothers embrace intuitive motherhood so they can connect with their child's soul and help usher in the next generation of spiritual leaders here to support our ascension. Welcome, Latoya.
Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. I wanted to add a little caveat or another way of sharing who I am, because
Please.
I really thought about this, and I'm a healing mom too. I just like to put out healing mom because it is really for me, because it allows me to get out of my perfection ways of living life, but also allows me to give myself grace to make mistakes and to learn from them, and to also share with my children that I'm healing, right? I'm on my own healing journey as well. And I'm going to make mistakes as a mom, and I'm going to be holding myself accountable for those mistakes, but also modeling and sharing that journey of my healing with my children. So I'm also a healing mother.
Same.
Yeah.
Latoya, we can't wait to get more into parenting and everything that you do. But we do love to ask everybody first, what is spirituality to you?
I love this question because spirituality to me is life. It's you, your being, your awareness, your knowing of who you are as a soul is spirituality. And when you look at life in that way, you start to reveal all the magic that has always been there, but it's just been there behind that veil. So spirituality is just life, the way of being, and it's holding that magic that's in your heart space and bringing it forward in all of your life, in all aspects of your life.
That's so beautiful. I'd love to know for you, when did the veil lift for you? When did you start knowing yourself as a soul?
Oh my goodness, it took a long, long, long time. So I am 30. Sometimes I forget, I'm I have a young mind, but my body tells me all the time.
After we hit 30, we forget. We're like, why are we counting?
I'm 35, so sometimes I have to remind myself, yeah, you're 35, Latoya. But I started my spiritual awakening when I was 32, and unlike most of my clients that come to me, the mothers that come to me, like their spiritual awakening starts with their, becoming a mother. I was blinded to that because of the veil. So my spiritual awakening started through being really frustrated at work and noticing my areas where at the time I didn't think I was in the victimhood mindset, but totally was not aware of like the world that I was creating from the energy of that victimhood. So my career sparked it, frustration in it, but also from I didn't have the best childhood, but I've always been protected, and I believed in something higher than me has always been there, looking out for me. So I've always believed in angels. I always believed in ghosts, spirit, all of it. But I just never like dived deep into it. So it's that belief in understanding and knowing that there is something higher than me. And then that victimhood mentality kind of like clashed. And I needed guidance in sorting out that muddled view of my life. And I found that through a few readings, one reading in particular, Nikki Novo's reading, and another reading that I received from Chelsea Jewell, which basically highlighted and spoke to my soul. And then I was like, dang, this is so cool. Like I knew, and I just more curiosity, more questions. And I just followed the breadcrumbs and learned more about myself as a soul and all the good stuff, and little children coming into my meditations and showing me the way and what my soul is here to do.
I want to know more about that. Little children coming into your meditations.
Yes. So I've always been, from an early age, I've always taken on that mother energy role. Like even I was babysitting at 8 years old. What now? What person, what sane mother would have an 8-year-old babysitting a newborn? And I'm talking paid babysitting. Like the parents were not there. The adults were not in the house. But like I already had that nurturing energy, always been a protector, nurturer. So like that energy has always been in me from an early age. But when I started Soul Teacher at the time, which is what is it called? Soul reading method now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Soul Teacher, I had a practice and I was doing in the meditation, and I have to close my eyes because it just comes to me. So I'm just going to close my eyes now. In the meditation, I'm just running through the forest, and I'm like not clothed, but running in the forest. And I'm just this happy, like go lucky soul. And I'm just like, but I know that I'm not, like when I'm in that meditation, I know I'm not alone. And then all of a sudden, like I look behind me and there's children like running and around me, crowding around me, and just like excited to see me. And I knew that these children, these souls were not mine that I birthed, but they were mine to guide and advocate for, and to help in this lifetime. So from there, that meditation, I was just like, wow, what is this? Like, am I supposed to birth 1 million children? But then I learned more, and as I dive deeper into my meditations and communicating with my spirit team, and they showed me more of the connection with the children and New Earth children that are coming in, and what their moms are going to need, and what my duty is here for their existence and bringing them forward to the earthly realm. so they could hit the ground running and do what they're supposed to be doing. Right, Gemma? Yeah.
I love that so much because I think we all have, like, especially when we get into like reading energy and, you know, just reading in general, we all have a unique like set of gifts. Children
Mhm.
being was not like, I just even got the greatest like reminder from you when we were chatting to like talk to my daughter's soul, quit trying to, figure it out from my mind. And
Mhm.
that's what I love about what we do is we all have this different calling, and it's so important and so needed. So I love the fact that you one gave us that visual. I love giving visuals in my reading too, and just seeing like
Mhm.
these kiddos just like, hey, we're here to guide you too, like let's get it.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
that.
And like they tend to come, like, this is where I receive most of my like aha, like, boom, you're supposed to be doing this, Latoya. At night, they come in my dreams and they visit then. I had another vision in my dream, like, I'm just gonna call it vision. But these children, they were I was up in space. And these children were, their souls were so like bright and high, like high frequency souls. Like it made me feel anxious in my body, right? Because I'm trying to hold their energy in my energy, but they're coming from the sun. And then they just gave me the names of like children from the sun, and I was just like, okay, like, and then started to learn more about children of the sun, and or children from the sun, whichever way you. I don't really like to label, but they give us the names because they know that we down here in this earthly
Need
realm
that.
like to categorize and like need that, right? But they were just talking about how like it's time for them to come, and this is where our this is where a lot of our healers, like advanced healer souls coming in, but also our destructors, our ones that are going to be like, they have the plans for the next systems that we are going to be building out here on Earth. But the main, at that point in time, which was like 2 years ago, it was a lot of focus on moms. But now they're getting old enough now where I'm being called to, continue the work with the moms, but also carve out that path with working with them, in the children, the New Earth children, the children that are here, the children who are already sensing their intuitive gifts in them, their intuitive gifts coming online. They need more of a guidance and more of an activator or an advocate for them as well. So I see myself steering off while I'm also going forward this way.
Yeah.
So our
Having
children are beautiful.
different paths. I love that so much because as we, when we were talking earlier, we've been talking about our kiddos and everything like that. Our kiddos really do need someone to help them. And, honestly, sometimes it's not us as their parents. It's not
Mm-hmm.
us. We don't have all of the answers or the know-how. Like, I know I'm still like, I wouldn't say I'm really new at my like reading and intuitive abilities, but I wouldn't know where to begin with my daughter, really.
Mm-hmm.
Besides encouraging things that she just has a knowing for and a seeing for, but really having someone as a guide to, help bring that online for our kiddos, I think is really amazing, especially as, we were talking about before, like we're at this point where the scale is tipping in the favor of like this really, really huge, big awakening. And there are going to be so many of us that are needing this type of guidance and this type of help. And, you really stepping into your power in this way is going to just serve so many in so many different ways. And so I really love that so much.
Yeah. I'm doing my best to step in my power more. But again, that healing part is what I'm working through as well. And this is where I when I'm teaching moms to and how to develop their intuition, how to connect with their children's soul, I'm also I'm like letting them know I'm doing this alongside you. I don't have all the answers all the time, but I just have this vision that is shown to me quite frequently and often, from my heart space, but also in my third eye space, that we're working towards, and our children are helping us and guiding us towards that future, that way of living in that society.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, Latoya, so according to like your intuition, what you've seen, what you feel from these children, what are they here to usher in, and how can we support them through this?
They're here to usher in our new way of being and the new way of existing in this earthly realm. So as a collective, we've reached a frequency where we're able to level up in that energetic way, or in that frequency way. So our children are coming in to help build that society that also holds that higher frequency, that energy, right?
Mm.
So the main thing that they are working on now is pointing out the major systems and the errors that are in these major systems, but also in helping us, deconstruct it, make these systems crumble in order to rebuild the systems and make sure that they are maintaining that level of energy or frequency for this future, right? The bigger we see now, the big systems are the food systems, our education system, and the parenting system. And I see more of the parenting systems and the education systems that the children speak to me more of. But there's also other big systems that they are working to change. So they really are here to change and help us level up as a society, like bring forward the evolution in where we need to be. So they're helping moms and helping other parents and move through what I call the new earth parenting paradigm. And it's this paradigm is open to understanding children as a soul, raising them as a soul, and educating them as a soul in the mind, body, soul awareness, right? We're not just stuck in the mindset. We're not just stuck in the body, right? With doing action. We're not just stuck on the spiritual end. It's a combination and a balance of the mind, body, soul aspect of parenting our children at that soul level. But before we do that, we have to be aware of ourselves as the guardian for this child, for this soul. We have to be aware of ourselves as a soul. And this is where a lot of the majority of the work that's happening is the healing and awareness and bringing moms online and to tap into their own intuition and to develop their intuition. And I speak more to moms. It's not that fathers aren't, or our partners aren't also like on this path. We just see more moms because there's a deeper connection. These souls are coming through our bodies. So, and we have to be able to hold the frequency of that soul within our body. So they need us to uplift our energy and our frequency in order to hold them in all their being and to birth them.
Yeah, I really like how you broke that down. I'd love to know, Latoya, what would be like an indicator for like maybe a mom, maybe you've already had a child and maybe you're coming into this awakening, what would be your indicator that your child is like needing more assistance, like as far as like the intuitive, more guidance around that? You like are noticing like certain things, like you grew up one way, but you're really noticing like this shift in wanting to raise them a little bit differently, but you're not really sure what that's about. Like what would be like an indicator that it's needed to like kind of like step into this space?
So are you looking for the indicator for the mom, or indicator like that the soul of the child is giving the mom?
Let's do both.
Okay. So the indicators for the mom is, if you, how do I put this? I'm going to give the audience a strategy to figure out which path they are. Because it's different per soul and per individual. And it's also is nuanced with your childhood and your upbringing as well. So one way of figuring this out as a mother is to say you are at the beginning stages of like your awareness, or you are already a mother and you're just trying to figure out whether you and your soul is being called in the direction of the new earth parenting paradigm, is to, I like to call it, observe and record. So what you are going to do for minimum for a month, because it takes time, right? You are going to observe your energy as a mom, your being as a mom. You're going to look for how your body is communicating with you. You're going to be thinking about and writing down and recording in a journal for a month your thoughts that come into mind, your triggers, your glimmers, your reactions to your children. You're also going to be observing your children and how like they are responding to you in your parenting, right? And after, you got to do this for a month, and you're like really jotting down, again, your thoughts, how your body is responding to you, the triggers, right? What is like agitating your nervous system or in your body? What is aggravating to you? The glimmers, like what are the moments that pick you up, lift up your energy, make you happy or maintain that level of happiness, right? You're jotting that down, but you're also jotting down what is coming to you in your dreams. You're going to record that for a month. And after that month is up, you are going to look back at that record, like your journal and the recordings of like what you wrote down. And if you find that what you wrote is rushed jots, like not very detailed, your thoughts are more of like a to-do list, more of a of like, it has more of a, you have more triggers written down than glimmers. If you wrote down that your body's more anxious, more stiff, more harder to, just like more of the, I don't want to say negative, but like the energy that you don't want, right?
Yeah.
If you find that in your journal more than what I'm about to explain, this is an indicator that you are more in the masculine energy. And this is a masculine energy is for both, no matter what sex you are, whether you're male or female, we all have both feminine and masculine energy. But when you are in that masculine energy, that's the indicator to the mom that your soul, your child soul is pushing more of the healing. So you got to be looking at what are your wounds, the childhood wounds, what are the blocks. This is like the upfront work that would need to happen in order for you to move down the more developing your intuition, right? I wrote this down though too. It's like, yeah, more of the, like your soul's communicating the healing that needs to happen.
Okay.
Now, if you'll find in your writing and your recording that it's extremely detailed. You have more of a calm energy in that writing, more of the happier experience in your body, more of the glimmers, more curiosity, more questions and wonders about what you are observing throughout your day and feeling. This is the feminine energy. And this right here is like, if you are in this feminine energy, this is your soul calling you forward to explore your curiosity, start to develop your intuition, explore the questions that you've written down, your wonderings. Like, this is like, follow your breadcrumbs. So that's like a very straightforward and like easy way of figuring out where you are. And it's not that one or the other is better. It's just like what is being called first, right? The masculine is going to be called for more of the healing up front. And it's not like the feminine end of it, you're not going to be called for healing. You just got to make that later on. Your soul just needs you to follow the breadcrumbs in order to you to get onto that path. The masculine energy is more of the healing that's up front, so that you could open up and clear away those blocks so that you can move down that path of really listening to your soul and listening to your child's soul. So that's one little activity to do. Now for the children, it's more of like, again, it's more of like a observing and noticing of your children's energy, right? But they are more connected to the other side. So their soul's going to speak to you through other ways. I find that our children who are of like the new earth energy, nature, like animals are very called to them. They are very love to be out in nature. It soothes them. It regulates their body, right?
That's Macy.
They are more sensitive. And this is not sensitive in like just with emotions. Like, they're sensitive in like they could pick up energy easily. Meaning, they could pick up the energy in their surrounding. They could pick up the energy from the people that are around them, from animals that are around them. But also they could pick up the frequency in the food that they're eating, in the frequency of like how that food is prepared. So like our children that are coming in too, they're more sensitive to foods where they need the higher frequency foods from Mother Earth. And we need to be thinking about the energy in which we prepare and touch the food that we are serving our children. Individuality, like in unconformity, is like another thing, is like they know who they are. They know who they are as a soul, and they will stand up for what they know and stick firm to their boundaries. So which is very triggering to us moms who are healing and trying to learn how to raise these beautiful children. And it kind of like, and when they are in that power, it's like they're pointing out your healing that needs to happen, but they're also making you in your soul like question, like, hey, is this my way of this way that I respond to them? I need to change this part, right? So they're bringing on growth in that challenge with you. And also I feel like the main, like the indicator is like, if they are drawn to like crystals. I find these children drawn to crystals more and more, like divination tools, and like interested in meditating and in exploring more of the spiritual end of it. But also, if they're talking about past lives and they're talking in asking questions about where their soul comes from and sharing information that like seems like it comes out of nowhere, but it's like that's a soul here to teach you, and to like really share their knowledge with humanity. So those are like some of the indicators for having a new earth child. Now, some will have all of it and some will have some of it, or just one little thing, aspect of it. There's more, but it's really, again, it's the main thing that we have to understand here is that it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
We have these parenting programs, and they're going to say, you got to do this, da, 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 and this is what's going to be the outcome of that. They're not speaking to the nuances of what that soul experienced, or to the nuances of like life. So it's individualized to the soul. So we really have to, this is where we develop our intuition as mothers. We attune to our own energy. We know ourselves as a soul so that we are able to and open up the pathway to connecting to our children and understanding them as a soul. And then from there, raise our children and educate them as a soul moving forward, and allowing them to really bring their gifts and their magic into the world.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I am like feeling everything you just shared with us. And, especially with me coming from the perspective of my daughter was like my catalyst to my spiritual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I had her and, I was more in personal development rather than spirituality at first, and like moved into my spiritual awakening. But like everything that you said, it just gives so much clarity and just so much tangibility to like what we're trying to do when we come online as parents who already have children. We haven't been in the spiritual space yet, and we're like trying to figure ourselves out, but we want to make sure that we're doing right by our children, and we're navigating this like foot in and foot out type of world, and really trying to make it our only world. Like everything that you shared, I've literally put myself in those situations to say, oh my gosh, yeah, that's exactly right. Like, oh man, where was Latoya when I needed her, when I was like having my dark night of the soul and was like trying to figure all this stuff out on my own. Like, I love this, and I love that you just have like that wisdom to be able to break this down for us new moms, or moms that are not so new. And I know Lauren, like, she got a reading from you and she got so much insight to what you were saying. And Lauren's been on her spiritual journey for a very long time, so I love and I like what you said about, this is the program, but they don't share all the nuances of the soul and the life of the person. It's one of those things. It's like, yes, I have to, okay. You know how sometimes when like maybe a child is having a hard time and we're like, oh, this is what we have to do for the child. The child has to do this in order to get better. We don't look at the fact that like, let's look at everything. And when you talked about, as the mother, like, okay, let's look at you, like, let's observe you first and to see where you are in this journey so that you can better help your child, to even see if you are even ready to like take this step and look at these things to help your child. Because how can you work on your child's intuition if your intuition isn't even online yet? If you have no trust in that, you don't even have like that awareness of your soul yet. So man, that's so powerful and so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'd love to know, like, is this just you, getting into your readings and like just working with people and working with these children? This is kind of how like you've come to this, or did you like have a lot of thought and like you were like, these are the steps that needs to happen in order to like move through these
That
things?
is a wonderful question, because I'm getting like chills. So like this is a question that needed to be explained or asked. So I want to just like put in like a little caveat and interject, like, I've only been on my spiritual journey for 3 years now. So that means my children have not been raised in this new earth parenting paradigm. They got the old version of Latoya. They got the old mom, right? So, and this is where the healing mother comes in, because I'm also on this journey with other moms, with you guys. Like, we're doing this together. So the insight that I receive is truly from the divine, from creator, from these children. and it's expressed and validated through my readings and my connections with mothers and their energy. I have a lot of work to do with my children as well, but I have a lot of work within myself first. So like a lot of where I'm starting at is in that masculine energy where I started at actually. I'm like moving and shifting into like the deeper spiritual end of it. But like I had a lot of wounds, childhood trauma, blocks, trusting myself that I'm still working through. I've worked through the majority of it, and it opened up the pathway to deeper understanding myself as a soul, and deeper understanding of my children, and deeper understanding of when my clients come forward, I could pull out and like really identify and explain more, because of the healing that I've done on my end. And I didn't do it with the mindset of becoming a better mom or becoming a better reader, becoming a better Latoya.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us need that first, and then we could move into, what, I'm okay now in this area of like my stuff, my shit. And now I could like open up and connect more with my children's soul and understand them more and see more of their pathway. My children's souls, my younger one, who received a different version of me, he's opened more to my energy, more being into his energy, and his soul explained more to me, right? Now, my older son, who received the scared mother, like starting her journey unaware mother, misplaced anger mother, he received all that, right? But he's also growing to see the healing part of it, right? So his soul, his energy, when I dig deeper, there's certain things that his energy, his soul hides away from me, right? So like, and when that happens, I know that like, okay, this is more of like his soul lessons that he needs to work out with his soul.
Yeah.
This is nothing that me and my soul could interject in and work on and heal for him, because this is his journey, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that's where a lot of it's really the connection to source and these children's souls that are coming in and really doing the work
with that. I love that so much. And I'm just going to go off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of the fact, not even reminds me, it's just more validation of the fact that if we are stepping into our dharma, it doesn't matter where we started. Meaning,
Mm-hmm.
We've done our training. We know about the Akashic records. We know that it houses all the things, everything that we could ever want to know and need to know, and it's there and accessible and ready for us, right? It's just taking us the time and the knowledge and the know-how to tap into that.
Mm-hmm.
And when we come from a society where we need to be perfect, we need to have schooling to be the expert, we need to have the training, and we need to have all of these things, we are giving away our power. You literally have been on this path for 3 years, and like it gives me chills just knowing everything, just you stepping into wanting to be the best version of yourself, what has come from that and what has come to you to be able to express that for others to learn, heal, and grow and tap into and share within their families. I feel the need to just say it doesn't matter how long you've been at it. It's the fact that you started and you're listening. You know what I mean? You don't have to be like this expert of 10, 12 years with a PhD and all this stuff. Like, I don't think it's about that anymore. It's not about that. Like the credentials, like, yes, it's nice to have. We have our certificates, we have our training, but it's bogus, right? It's like your vibration, your energy, like what you're doing and how you're doing it and what you're sharing is going to speak for itself. So yeah, sorry, I just had to.
And with that, that's
that
the way we need to view our children. Our children are teaching us. They're just as much of an expert in their being here with us, they are teaching us.
Yeah.
I have, I'm a teacher. my 9 to 5 is a teacher, right? So I have these children, like I'm horrible in math and I got to teach these kids math, right? So, I refer to my students a lot. Like I had this one student, he's like a wizard in everything, that like I would have him sit with me and teach me it before I had to teach it to the class, right? Now, I could be that teacher that is like, no, I'm not going to listen to the student. I'm not going to allow this student to show me his way of teaching it. And I'm going to butcher my lesson and teach them the wrong way of doing it, right? Just because of my pride and the way of viewing children as like, oh, that's a child. I shouldn't be listening to them,
That
allowing
ego.
them to yes, that ego, right? Now, on the spiritual end of it, me being an energy reader and feeling into it and knowing it, that child's soul is on this earth longer than mine. So, of course, he's going to be able to, like, teach me. Like, this child is really explaining to me, not only was this child able to explain to me where my errors were, but, like, pointed out how I learned that math method and how he's, like, and shifting it into the new way of doing it. I was just like, you know what? Thank you.
Yeah. But you know what? It's one of those things too. It's almost like, I think we forget, and I think the whole reason why we have this like dynamic of parent child instead of us magically incarnating on this earth is that, you know, when we're walking a path for a while, we tend to forget. We come here to forget, to relearn anyway, right? But I think our children are like, they come through for those like reminders, for those teachers. But because of the conditioning, we've been taught that we are the all-knowing, all-powerful. We have to be the parent, the adults, and they have to respect us. And we lose sight of the fact that our kiddos deserve and need to be respected as well. And in doing that, we kind of have this like balance almost of they're here to teach us something and we teach them what it's about to be on this earth, right? Like the physical, we've been in our physical bodies for a lot longer, whereas they've been, you know, and are more tapped into their souls and that spiritual essence for, you know, longer or closer than we have. Like we always have that connection, but because we're here, we tend to like forget and it gets a little tenuous. But I feel like they just come in to like reestablish that, and we for some reason forget that.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like our children are coming in where the way that I'm going to explain it, because our older generation of like spiritual, I don't want to say it so like that sounds really bad, but the newer like there's newer spiritual information, newer higher conscious that is coming in, right? So we were given the foundation, we were taught the foundation from previous spiritual leaders and so on, and souls that are here, right? To help prepare us for that next layer of consciousness coming in. And so what I'm about to share might be new to people, or it might like make me like, oh, she's wrong because of, but
girl, say it.
Our children, their souls that are coming in now, they're coming in without that veil. And they choose in the spirit realm, hey, you know what? With the lessons that I need to learn and the challenges that my soul wants to experience here on earth, I want to come in with the veil, or I want to come in without that veil. There's a choice, right? Whereas it might not have been a choice for our souls here because of the collective consciousness was not at the energy and frequency that's needed. These children coming in, they're bringing up that higher consciousness, that higher energy frequency is coming through them. Now, there's a whole other side that we are not really diving into as much because we're not seeing it as much now, but we will see it in the future, is that there is also a downside to coming in with that veil completely opened. And that is like, we're going to like, we will have like these children talking about their lives and past lives on other planets. And if they decided to be with if they're with a mother who's not open to that, or with their families that are not open to that energy or that understanding of life and understanding of them as a soul, it's going to cause like the questioning of like, is like, do we need to look at a therapist for mental health or psychiatry and like all that other stuff? Because like, they're going to be thinking like, this child's talking about aliens. But like, we're now opening up to it, but there's also those things that we also need to understand about with our children with the higher frequency, and it's just more understanding and deeper insight that needs to be explored more, and we're starting to explore it.
Yeah, I
I
totally
learned
feel
I'm
that.
sorry. I learned about that through one of my clients. The children started to explain to me like what her purpose is in the future. And like, her purpose was like to bring in healings, but energetic healings from like other realms and other planets that are not here. It's not here yet. But that's for this little child's soul to bring forward here. And the way she was showing me it was going to be brought forward is because we're going to have those incidences where we have these new earth children coming in, and they're born to parents who are not aware yet or on that journey, and they're going through the route of like medication, being labeled as, some psychiatric way, right? So there's going to be healing and wounds and new healings that happen in the future as well. And like, also like, we're taught that we like the foundational consciousness or training, or what we learned is that we choose our parents. Not all souls choose their parents. And the majority do choose their parents, but not all the souls up in the spirit realm choose their parents.
Do they choose to not choose and just like roll the dice and see? Or what is your opinion on that?
The ones that it goes to the individual soul, and it really goes to the individual soul's mission. Like, how do I put this? Like, if the child's mission is like grand, right? They're going to choose to go to a parent that's more open to be on the spiritual end and more like walking their spiritual awakening path, right? But then we have souls that don't want to come in and explore maybe the harder childhood and go through that trauma, right? So they're and then the souls that sign up to deliver that trauma to that soul, it will be the parents, right? So if they choose not, they don't choose that parent, it's the higher council that chooses the parent for them, and then they just come in, right? There's children, there's souls that need to be here on Earth, and so they come through, and sometimes they come through a chosen parent that they choose or not. But
either
like,
way,
it's like a necessity to be here.
Okay, it is supposed to still help along their path of what their mission is.
Yes,
okay.
Like, there's a purpose behind it, but like, the soul is not fully agreeing to that contract, but the council needs that soul here in Earth at that time period. Like, there's a time frame that there's work to do, basically, and no matter what, you still coming,
right?
It's like, you got work to do. So don't worry about the future end of it. You just have to come through.
There's something here. Oh, I love that so much. I can ask so many questions, but I've been hogging the question, so Lauren, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Yeah, I've just been like listening with rapt attention.
Mhm.
I'm learning so much. And yeah, I think maybe we could speak to like some different stages of parenting. So, I would love to know more about like working with spirit babies, and then maybe some advice for new mamas, and then some advice for people with older kids, like how
Mhm.
to,
Like the stages of
yeah,
motherhood. Yeah.
yeah.
So for our mothers who are looking to conceive, or our mothers who are already, carrying and growing a soul in their womb, to trying to figure out how to navigate this. So we can always connect to there's a way to connect to our children's soul even years before conceiving that child, right? And so if you are looking to become a mom and you want to know how to bring forward that soul to this earthly realm, or if you are pregnant and you want to connect to your child's soul, um, it's really through meditation. Like your start is like meditate, and get into the practice of experiencing your own energy, but also on connecting. You could just say, I want to connect to the energy of my spirit baby. And then in that meditation, allow those downloads to come in, allow your child's soul to um, express itself to you. Now, not this is not a skill that's going to come online to like everybody like in an instant. So you have to be open to, if you want to be able to do it on your own, you have to be open to being okay with how the information is coming through and trusting that it's the information that's coming from your spirit baby, but also allowing it to take time. But there's a lot of individuals out there who do spirit baby readings who can connect to your future child's soul and allow you to get that information or that validation from your spirit baby. Spirit babies, I see them around the mother, or around the mother's energy. And depending on how far that energy is from the mother's energetic body will tell me like how far off in the future it is. Like if it's further away, we got a few years, there's some work that you need to do, that your spirit baby soul is asking you to do in order for it to be conceived and brought in on the earthly realm. And then if you have it like close, like sometimes I see like in like the body, the energetic body, like that baby's ready. Like it's coming. Like, and like that spirit baby will be conceived. Like it's coming and it's coming through you. It chose you. When it's like that, when I see that. Now, again, for this part of the journey, the beginning stage of the journey, and starting to think about bringing in a child, I would really look at first having that connection with your soul and be mindful of your connection with your partner's soul and how you guys are consciously choosing to live in this lifetime. Those are the things I would be thinking about when planning in bringing a child to this world. Now, new mom, and let's say with younger children, I find that our new moms in the beginning stages are like really number one, overwhelmed, but also like opened in understanding more and also understanding their child as a soul. They're like more like taking in the knowledge, consuming the knowledge, right? It and again, it takes practice in tuning in, but start like the main thing is start with tuning into your energy, right? But also observing your children around you and how their energy is with you. Try to figure out what energy you are leading with and what energy your children are leading with. Because if you are a mom who leads more in the masculine energy and you have a child who's leading more in the feminine energy, that structure, the organization, and that constant to do and action is not going to work with the child who has the more of the feminine energy, who's more flowy, doesn't really work with structures, who's more sensitive, right? And more like curious about life, right? That like we have to know what energy we lead with and determine and figure out what energy your child leads with. And again, that energy fluctuate, but there is one that your energy and your soul leads into more. Same thing with your children. And that also is helpful when you are finding yourself in circumstances where, let's just say, you're going toe to toe with your child in an argument, and your child leads with more of the feminine energy. So you as the one who leads in more of the masculine energy is gonna have to take time away where you are calming yourself down, where you're going to bring it more into a feminine energy, like more of the understanding of their emotions. And then you go into that situation where you're meeting each other in that balanced energy. And I would say that also goes for our moms who have like seasoned motherhood and they have older children. The main thing for our moms who have already raised their children, let's just say not in the new earth parenting paradigm, is to not beat yourself up about it, because you can always shift into this understanding and shift into changing and healing your perspective in understanding your children as a soul. So it's never too late. That's what I would like. That's the advice I would give to our more seasoned mom. It's never too late to hold yourself accountable for any mistakes and heal, and to, pick up from the level that you are at or where you are at and continue on a more soul-led journey with your children. But I will also say for like our moms who like have like the older children, like teenage children, because and you're wanting to connect to your children's soul, it's more of like when I always cut off my readings at 17 because of that free will and allowing that soul to truly express its essence without like an interference. And at that point in time, like if a mother would like a mommy and me reading, that child, the 17-year-old, would have to come and get the reading, right? It's not the mother's choice, the mother's soul's choice, right? So on that end of it, it's like a shift in allowing your teenage or your adult child's soul to really move down its path that it wants to move down. And at this point in stage, like when they are already at expressing their essence, their true essence as a soul, they might be starting their own healing journey where childhood wounds come up. And with that, you as a mom have to be open to holding yourself accountable for your part in that wound, in that storyline, that is in your child's soul's contract, right? So that is like the next step for our seasoned mom to really do your healing, but also hold yourself accountable for your doing in your child's story, your child's wounds, your child's blocks.
That is, thank you. Those are all such, I think, beautiful and specific and nuanced ways to look at these different phases of motherhood.
You're welcome. I hope it was clear.
Yeah.
Oh, very clear.
Absolutely clear. And yeah, I know Rashida and I both have our own stories. But as you were talking, it made me think of a few women that I know who've done the healing work, who are in tune. They are so ready for the baby to come through, and it's just not happening for them, whether it's they're not with the right partner or they've been trying for a long time. And I know every circumstance is individual to the mother and the child. But I'd love to know if like this is something you've seen, and if there's any like trend there of like why is it just not happening?
So I find when that happens, it's not the right time for that specific soul to come forward in this, like, to be here in this earthly realm, right? So that, and there's also like a layer or a block that individual mother is not seeing, right? It's not in their pathway. So for that instance, I would say like that's where you need, not need, but like it's like a call to look outside of yourself, like try to find an intuitive that does spirit baby readings and can connect in that way, but also one that you connect with on an energetic level and that you feel comfortable with, right? And allow that reader to see if they could see anything in the communication that for some reason you're not feeling or sensing or seeing, because maybe a block or something that is just you as the mom trying to bring in that soul can't download or receive at that time. And that happens often. Not even that happens with my boys. Like again, my older son, there's certain things I can't see in his path or receive from his soul, like hides it away from me, and I have to be okay with that, right? So then with that, or if I see that there's a block or something I'm not looking with or like I'm missing, that's when I go ahead and I seek out other intuitives to try to help out with that. But there's also like, again, there's things that like that certain soul like is not liking for it not to be here. It could be something on the collective, like they're not liking the way our collective is moving, or where they living, and the energy that's in their home. Like there's like certain things, or maybe not liking the way that the energy of like that making the baby end of it. Maybe like there's an energy within the partner that soul is sensing as well. Like these are all things that need to be explored. It can be explored when it comes to conceiving and bringing these souls forward.
Well, thank you for that. I know that for the people that I know who are going through that or who have gone through that, it's just such a delicate time. And I know as a newer reader, I just don't know how much to say sometimes when it comes to that sort of thing. Because one, like I really don't want to be wrong or give somebody false hope. But two, it is just a sensitive subject for people. And
it is.
Yeah.
And what I started doing, because I sense the nervousness of our like moms coming in, because you like parenting and our mothering is so individual, but also so sacred and so like vulnerable. It's hard for us to open up about, even if you know that you're going to like get a reading. And you're nervous about, you know, having your child's souls share so much with this other person you don't even know yet, right? So with that, Lauren, for your readings, what I started to do is I put in a free meditation beforehand that they could listen to open up their heart space and allowing their soul's essence to really open up and share more. And then afterwards, after the reading, I also put in an integration reading. This is like, I put it in like a couple months ago. So they are able to receive and not like have like a barrier to the information that they receive. Because sometimes it is hard information to receive. Sometimes the children have wounds, or they have like experiences with their parents that they need to share with the parents, and it's hard for the parent to hear, right? But I always lead into the soul is sharing this with you for a reason, and maybe the human part of it might not receive it in the best way, but the soul part receives it. And the soul part will hold on to it until the human part of the client is able to receive it in due time. Like I've had clients who, you know, I shared a piece of information where it was coming from the soul, and it was hard for me to get it out because I felt it all. And right then and there, it wasn't received by the human, but later, like months later, saw it all unfold. And then the client reaches out and just like, I'm happy that I was told this months ago, because even though it was hard to hear or receive, it kind of like gave me comfort at that point in time for when that the thing eventually did happen. They were able to receive it openly with an open heart, but also know how to go on from it, like the next steps, the action to it.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Latoya, I think we'll shift now. I would love to hear about your programs and what you
Yes.
offer.
Okay, so I am starting to launch my Mama's Magic program again. And this program is helping moms develop their intuition so that they're able to connect with their soul and move along the path of opening up the pathway of connecting to their children's soul. And then after that is Mama's Magic. I changed the name. I'm doing a lot of shifting in my business. But Mama's Magic is where we take what we've learned about our soul and the mother's mission, and we then use all of that information to help you connect to your children's soul. So I have a step-by-step process in connecting to your child's soul, and from there you get to learn. You will explore your child's path, your child's the energy that they lead with, what their mission is here on Earth, and how you could move forward in parenting and raising them as a soul. But if you are not really, like if you're questioning whether it's the path for you or not, and you need a little bit of guidance with that, I created actually this past weekend, Mama Spark. And this is for you to just like spark a light within you and see whether moving down the new Earth parenting paradigm is for you or not. So with this free mini program, you'll receive signs to look out for yourself, immediate actions, a free PDF pamphlet, and other resources to help guide you along your journey and seeing where you can start off with moving down this path and leading the path to the New Earth parenting paradigm. And if none of that speaks to you, you can find me on, and you just like the conversation, want to learn more, you can find me on Instagram at Latoya Does Readings LLC. And you could also join my newsletter community where I share more guidance, more information, and more of my story and insights on my monthly events. And then I also have my readings, the Mommy and Me readings. And this is more for like, if you feel that you really, really, really want to get in-depth information on your child soul and also more of like your mothering journey, we will identify those areas within the Mommy and Me reading, and you'll have all that information up front, and you can move forward with working in including that information into your life as you move on. And for your audience, I have a code. It's Besties23, and you receive a discount on the Mommy and Me reading. Now, the main thing to remember here is that the Mommy and Me reading is offered quarterly. So I'm offering it in September, and that code expires September 30th. So again, I'm trying to remember. Let me see if I got the whole code right. It's Besties23, and it's 10% off of the Mommy and Me reading for your audience members.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's really generous. And yeah, I did the Mommy and Me reading a few months ago, and it was really insightful. And you not only sent me the reading, you sent me like a whole PDF of like recommendations and things like that too, which were totally above and beyond. And as somebody who has been more like on the intuitive path for a while, like it's just nice to have that confirmation from somebody else, plus like seeing anything that you're not able to see or that's blocked. So I found it really helpful. And this is a reminder too, as a reader, to like, check in. I think like, sorry, I don't want to tangent, but since she's been with me for a long time, like in spirit baby form, I like don't even think about going in to read her, just because we've had that like connection for years now. But this is reminding me to like go in and like do a thorough reading every once in a while, just to see what I might be missing from like the mundane day-to-day stuff, and what patterns I might be unconsciously going into and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it.
And within my my programs, we explore more of like the questions to ask and more of the guidance to look for from the child's soul, but also like your soul's contract in being a mother. Like there's like, it's not always so like combined as well.
So fascinating. Rashida, I know you're like, okay, about to sign up for that.
I put it on my notes. I'm like, okay, let's look at this. I got the IG down. I'm like, because Lauren is so curious and loves to explore and likes to do all the things. And she'll be like, okay, I totally think like this is something you would do. And then she'll bring on a podcast guest, and like, I'm like, oh, you were totally right. You know me so well. I am so like ready for this. So I will be signing up and getting a reading. So thank you so much. This has been amazing. I really appreciate your wisdom and everything that you've shared with us today. It really just, I know sometimes when we talk like spirituality, and sometimes it can be just so like untangible, but like you could tell like you've really not just received it, but really like thought about this and like really made it so tangible for us. And, being able to like just have this roadmap. I mean, and I could tell the teacher in you as well when you're like, I have a PDF pamphlet and all the things. Like, you really have it together, and I love that so much about this. You know, when we think about, for me anyway, when I've thought about spirituality and then like my family and it always seems like a little bit separate. I remember at the beginning when Lauren asked me, you know, what are my intentions? And I was saying, I'm just really trying to like bring my family and kids into the fold. And she's like, but Rashida, you already do it. Like, it's just a way of being. And I love the fact that you were like, you've just like spoken to that so well within your programs that you've talked about, what we shared with us here. Like, thank you so much. This has been amazing.
You're
And a really
welcome.
awesome interview.
Thank you for allowing me to share it on this platform and with your audience.
I really appreciate it too. I think, you know, with parenting, there is so much information out there.
Yes.
There's so, like you were saying, there are so many different styles. There are so many different recommendations. And this method really simplifies it. Not to say it's quote unquote easy necessarily, but it's not about following what anybody else says. It's simply about the soul, your child's soul, your soul.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think when there's so many decisions to make every single day as a parent, some big and some small. I think knowing that you can always go back to the soul and lead from there is so empowering.
Yes. Yeah. And like, you really solidified the whole message here. It's tuning in to yourself, your energy, and tuning into your child as a soul and advocating for them and just raising them as a soul and live that soul-led life in family, and raising them in that way. It's not a program to follow. You are the program. Your soul is that program. Your child's soul has it for you. You just have to figure out a way and connect with that way of connecting. It's the connecting part is where I teach.
I think so too. Also, and I know we need to wrap this up, but like, I think that it becomes really apparent when something isn't working. Like, I was trying to follow a lot of rules, I guess, when she was first born, even though we did have that soul connection. And she made it clear really quickly that like, that just wasn't going to work for her. She's like, no, I don't want to be swaddled. No, I don't want to lay in a crib. Like, no, you know, like, I knew these things immediately, and I had to basically like put Google down and just be like, okay, all right.
Listen, first time mom, my son was very adamant. Right in the hospital, gave birth, delivered, there was a certain way he wanted to sleep. And he wanted to sleep here and curled up here, right?
Yeah.
I got yelled at by the nurse. But like, this is what my child wants. And at that time I wasn't connected to his soul, but like, he was very like, his, like, even as a newborn, his soul knew what it wanted. And at that time, not knowing and not being aware that I am now, I was listening to his soul. That was his soul's call. Like, and that's where we need to move to and through in our parenting. And that also calls for our doctors being more understanding of that and understanding of people as a soul. And there's so many systems. That's a whole episode.
I know. I could go off about that too. And yeah, there's something about becoming a new mom, like you said, it opens you up. Like suddenly you're really opened up soul wise, and like you're in your most primal state. So you're like in touch with like the most human aspects of yourself. And it's so awesome. And we need to just trust moms. Trust moms.
Yes.
Allow them to be and do, like, oh, Lauren, I'm so glad you said that. And Latoya, you definitely spoke to that. Being that new mom, you know exactly exactly what your child needs. And you also know when something's a little off. And I think in this day and age when we're taught to, oh, these are the 5 steps to make sure your newborn is sleeping through the night, or this is you know, all the things that we're taught to like look outside of ourselves instead of like really like, we are literally, you know, when we think about it, our child's soul has come through us, through our womb portal, and we are like tapped in, right? Like we are there. And like, I feel like that is the most, especially if you've never been like the most intuitive, you are just wide open at that point. But again, we let society and
Yep.
doubt and ego and all the things just like creep in to where, you know, it's like, oh, I knew that. Like for my daughter, for instance, there were so many times that I was like, well, I know she's fine, but you know, let me just take her to the doctor. Let me just do this. And I'm like, ugh, another doctor bill because I did not listen to myself. With my son, I literally was like, no, he's fine. He's great. And he was, you know, so and that's just like one instance of like us being like really tuned in, but like really, I don't know, being able to sit in that, I mean, I'm not going to have any more kiddos. Lauren might. Latoya, I don't know if you are, but I know that time has passed for me. But like really, if you haven't gotten there yet, like really sitting in that moment and that space, like you said, Lauren, like being in your most primal essence of human and like meditating in that, exploring that, being curious with that, exploring like that connection that you have with your kiddo in that moment, I think is the most magical, eye-opening thing that you can possibly do. And then all the things that are like happening within your body, like just being aware of that as well. So it's just, it truly, like, we are so amazing. I don't know. I feel like our society makes it like, oh, you have a baby. Oh, you're just having a baby, but you're not just you're not just having a baby. Like you're doing some really cool magical things.
Exactly. It's magic.
Yeah.
You're magic. You're creating magic in your womb and you're bringing that magic here on earth. And you're just in that magical experience and journey together as souls.
Yeah.
And that's the way we need to view our
And then they're like, get
mothering.
back to work.
Yeah.
You only get 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, what? I just did magic. I'm doing it right now.
Like literally. Oh, this is so
birthed
great.
a beautiful gift for you, for society. Okay.
Yeah. I love that. Jim is feeling it too.
She sure is.
Yeah. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for all of your magic and wisdom. And Latoya, thank you for breaking this down in a tangible, like truly like awe-inspiring way. Like, you know, it makes me kind of like proud to be like a mom on this path, and also having like support like from people like you. This has been amazing. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
One more question for you. Will you be our bestie?
Yes, absolutely.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay!
She's so cute.
Thank you. All right, guys. We will talk soon. Love you.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us for this incredible episode. If you loved it, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and tell all your besties about us.
You can also connect with us on Instagram at Your Spiritual Besties Podcast. And be sure to say hello and share your thoughts about the episode. Love you, bestie. Talk soon.